Hello everyone, I'm Plasma Warriors, and you like to call me That Guy with the Afro. Let me talk a little bit about anime Matsuri. Turn your volume down right now, because I'm really trying not to I hate this convention! Ever since 2007, it's been a complete disaster that everybody knows sucks. In fact, that's part of the reason why I'm making this video. And believe me, it's not because I wanted to wait a week and see the aftermath. No. There's a reason for me to do this other than Matsuri. And yes, I get it. They suck. I've heard the stories. I've seen the video. I know what people have said about Kaho Sabura, so please don't comment there. I know what happened. Yet people still go to it. But you know what? Instead of the next time you've heard this over 1 billion times already, I'm not about to be the 1,000,000,000st person to say it. So I've already made a 50-minute long video about the history of anime Matsuri. No need for me to go through that right now. However, that's not the biggest problem with anime Matsuri. Oh no. You think the Lolita scandal is the biggest issue? Wrong. Get your drink of choice out, folks. You're gonna want to have a lot of it. Mine seems to be Dr. Pepper. Yeah, load up. Anyway, allow me to explain what is going on behind the scenes, and allow me to also say that yes, anime Matsuri is 50 to 60% of the problem here. Okay? Cool. Thanks. Let's move on. Basically, anime Matsuri started off as Planet Zero, which was John Leigh's Japanese-style arcade to everything. As a side note, I was a competitor at another arcade in the southeast side, and I'm gonna say it now, this isn't just me trying to be, oh, these cons and these arcades are bad. Don't deal with Japanese arcade cabinets. They're harder to fix, more expensive, and much more difficult to procure. Best way to do it, either get wooden cabinets and have a system built into them, or custom build your own. You can also have bar stools or whatever to use, so I don't see why that's a big deal to not have these and have better arcade cabinets. Let's just go ahead and put it out there. Now to the point. In 2007, I said it then that the convention was bad, and it hasn't changed in the years since. In fact, in 2011, the last time I went, I made it very clear that it would take an act of God for me to go back to anime Matsuri. So screw the bad talk about it. This has been going on for a while, and yet people still go to it. Wonder why? Well, let's just go ahead and say a few factors that you're not going to want to hear, but it is absolutely true. Again, get your drink of choice out. John Leigh basically is the most evil, scummy person in their organization of anime Matsuri, is the most dark and sinister one in Houston. Other than the Houston Texans, which I used to work for. Do not at me. In any event, other than the Lolita scandal, oh yes, that's big. You think it's just the Lolita scandal though? He's basically gone out of his way in conning other people. For instance, two particular points come to mind in an article from the Houston Press. I can't really remember where I found it. It was about 4 years ago. I'm pretty sure I could dig through my archives and link it up later. But bottom line, he went after a business partner and asked for loans that he never repaid. Around, I think, $150,000, and that's a lot of money to run anything, let alone a Japanese-style arcade. But even then, I think that's a little bit too much for what he was doing. As far as I can tell, while he was running Planet Zero, he also skipped off some people for different tournament prizes. I don't know what people were thinking about store credit. I don't find it very useful. People want cold hard cash when they have a tournament. Or they want something such as, say, Street Fighter 5682 Super Alpha Plus EXG. Oh, if only it was better than EXI. Anywho, point being, he screwed over people. They had to put in whatever money they were giving back to anime Matsuri's parent arcade, Planet Zero. Basically, you won a tournament, you get Planet Zero prizes. And I'm sorry, that just doesn't work. I get conventions not able to do cash prizes. They send out different kinds of things. Okay, fine. But when you're a regularly repeating arcade tournament business, that's just scamming people. I'm sorry, but it's true. Speaking of scamming, what they decided to do around, I believe, 2016, I'm not exactly sure, was to go ahead and tell everybody, hey, you know what? We're going to give you free passes to Delta H-Con. Remember Delta H-Con? It will come into play later, folks. Of course, Zabiat didn't know about this and therefore didn't really plan on this. So she said, okay, we'll give you a discount for whatever, but we can't give it for free. And I understand that. Conventions got to make money too. Right? Like I said, get your drink of choice out. Because with this being said, the whole Lolita scandal and all that is just icing on a cake that the mayor, Sylvester Turner, helps to bake. Yeah, you heard about this? Mayor Sylvester Turner has basically given Anime Matsuri its blessing by being there to cut the ribbons and opening ceremonies and all this. I don't know how far this goes, okay? This is not much speculation because you can see the mayor doing it every year. But there's something about him and John Leigh that are going on. I just don't know how deep it goes. Is it because, oh, it's Houston and it's GRB and come look at us? Or is there something more sinister under the radar? I don't know, but I know there's a connection somewhere. That being said, let's march on to why I'm talking about this today instead of last week. Because Comicpalooza, the comic book-esque convention that mirrors Anime Matsuri in a way, originally had its date set for Memorial Day weekend. It's pretty simple for me. Memorial Day, Comicpalooza. Labor Day, Dragon Con. And so, originally, okay, maybe I'll go ahead and work with the Pathfinder Society of Houston. Very good guys, by the way. To be very frank with you, go join them if you're in Houston. It is the gaming group in Houston. Lindsay Long IV is an amazing guy. I'm just throwing it all out there. I've never had a problem with Pathfinder Society, but still, they're top-notch over in Houston. Back to the point, though. Comicpalooza moved its dates to this weekend, July 17th through 18th, for a few reasons. And I can think of only one that it really hurts. You guessed it, Delta H-Con. Swig now. I'm not an alcohol drinker by nature, so that's the best you're going to get from me. Anyway, basically, the whole move from last weekend to this weekend is simple. Get rid of Delta H-Con by any means necessary. And so far, I don't know if they're doing it. Reports are sketchy at best in numbers. But after what happened last year, or 2 years ago actually, well, both, because Delta H-Con was going to try to continue last year without any vaccines or anything like this. I don't know if it's going to matter very much, because you heard what I said, where it's 50 to 60% John Leigh, right? Now the other 40 to 50% of what's going on happens to be taking place with other conventions. Let me start off with the one that completely got itself killed in Space City Comic Con. Originally, this was going to take place around the same time of what would have been Comicpalooza's normal date, right? Right. Okay, so Space City Comic Con basically happened in the Reliant area where the city of Houston's main high schools are having their graduation. Problem number one, you don't like to mix that very much. It only worked once, and that was in 2017's Anime Matsuri. And even then, we thought it was annoying to have to deal with the rodeo at that time. So I'm going to say this now. I wouldn't really run anything on NRG Stadium while events are happening, in particular the graduations, but Houston Texans, Onicon did that once, the rodeo, Monster Jam, basically anything that goes on in that spot, avoid during that time. Totally fine if you want to do something when it's empty. No problem there. But basically, Space City Comic Con ended up pretty much screwing over its volunteers, annoying people with the times of when events happened, literally screwed over the Sons of Anarchy cast, who were supposed to be guests there, and had a bad time at a bad place. You know, that's pretty much burning your own bridge, and I can see why a lot of people don't want to work with Houston conventions particularly, because, let's be honest, they like to ruin things. Take the aforementioned Delta H-Con in this case. 2 months ago, almost to the day, they basically decided to tell everybody, well, congratulations, you now have to have a vaccine in order to attend their convention. I'm not saying one way or another take the vaccine or not take the vaccine. This is not medical advice. But if you're forcing it on people and you're not a medical physician, then that's a red flag right then and there. A month later, they would end up backtracking on this and saying, okay, never mind, we're not going to worry about it. But you know what the big problem was? It wasn't that they backtracked on it. It was 2 reasons mainly. The softer reason, it was already too late. Once you get about a month out of your convention, people start making plans, you have to have time off, and you basically say, you know what, I'm going or I'm not going. Or I'm going to something else. It's a little late for anyone who doesn't regularly attend conventions as a just passerby to change their plans. You have to have the setup. If you're a volunteer, you have to be able to get your volunteer hours. You also have to realize you have dealers, artists, industry guests. It's not very easy to have a convention go on and say a month later, congrats, you can't come, and then say, oh wait, everyone can come now, no big deal. But it's number 2 that bothers me. They weren't doing it because they were sorry. Oh no. The governor has a executive order banning such things from happening in the state of Texas. In other words, to start off what's going on. TLDR. Anime Matsuri and Comic Palooza threw napalm, and Delta H-Con burned their escape bridge. Congratulations. You've screwed yourself over. Bravo. And this is 2 years after I said you need to fix some of your problems. Apparently they didn't, and after one bad review, they got all prissy about it, and boom, the dynamite explodes. Although I will say congratulations to Box of Props Mario on your wedding. Sorry I couldn't be there this weekend. I'm actually going to be going down to see a DJ friend of mine soon. Hashtag needs more Seffi. In any event, all you had to do was not trip over yourself, and congratulations, you've won. Well, that didn't apparently happen. And it's been a phase for a lot of conventions. Convention here, convention there. Everyone wants to go ahead and ruin their own goodwill just because, I don't know. Now, all this being said, I can't really talk about International Magical Girl Day, or now Magical Girl Day proper, simply because they had to fight the pandemic, and I don't see anything coming out of them. I wish them well. They did an amazing International Sailor Moon Day, back when it first became that. So I'm hoping that they indeed continue. But that's not the only convention I have going on. There's another one coming up in Houston called Anime Houston. It's run by John Swayze, who is a voice actor who I'm not very familiar with. I may have run into him at 1 or 2 cons. I can't remember. So he's not a humongous name like a Monica Rial or a Vic Mignogna or a J. Michael Turnham or Hilary Ruff. But I'm so not sure why I said Hillary. Michelle Ruff. Oh gosh, Hillary Clinton, if you weren't such a big failure. Anyway, just like the Houston Texans. That's how you know when not to edit a video, right? Anyway, to the point. Yeah. Anime Houston is basically going to be in this firefight between themselves and Comic Palooza and Anime Matsuri. However, I think in this case it's got to be okay because John Swayze is an industry guy. I said this one time. And it's to Matt Greenfield. Wouldn't you want to do a convention? He goes, no, because we feel like we do it anyway. Trust me, if then ADV Films, now Sentai Filmworks, actually put on a convention, you would think that we'd have a bigger anime boom than what we got in the 2000s. Yes, anime is big, but it's the My Hero Academias that are going on that make it big. But it's the Sailor Moon remakes that are making it big. But it's the Dragon Ball Z Supers that are making it big. It's not because anime is great, it's that the big names are still going on strong. Case in point, Demon Slayer, big surprise to me, but it's still going on because it's a mainstream thing. I wouldn't even bothered with Food Wars originally if it weren't on Adult Swim. So you get the idea. Getting your name out there is huge, especially when an industry that a lot of people don't take seriously normally. And the convention industry is one that the anime industry has taken seriously, but hasn't taken that next step up to say we're going to make our own stuff. I don't know how big of a name John Swayze will become because of this, but if Comic Palooza and Anime Matsuri and the rest want to try to screw them, it's going to backfire heavily because John Swayze, I'm hoping he's watching this, is an industry guy. If you try to backstab an industry guy as an anime convention, congratulations, you won't have any people in the industry going to you. The only ones who will try to go to you are either A, small-time up-and-comers, or B, total outright negative people. And that's what I'm a little more concerned of than normal. Look, I believe that if you're going to have a convention, you've got to be able to understand your opponent's way of thinking. And right now, Anime Matsuri and John Leigh are basically trying to destroy all the other conventions, and they've nearly gotten away with it too. Now, you might have noticed, there's one anime convention so far I have said nothing about. Onicon. Yes, the Houston area's OG anime convention. Their move to Galveston was both needed and brilliant at the same time. The needed way, you get away from John Leigh and the city of Houston's attempts to basically bury you. The brilliant way is if you're on Galveston Island, you look at the beach. It is glorious for cosplayers. I'm not a cosplayer, but I would recommend Anime Matsuri take note. Downtown Houston is not a great place for cosplayers. Nope. Neither is the north side by where Greenspoint Mall used to be. Sorry about that one, Anime Houston. Or the west side and very end of Beltway 8. No, that was a good convention for the look up at the hotel rooms. I love how the windows had different signs on them at Onicon that one year. Why hasn't Delta HCon used that as their advantage? I mean, the main floor should be more in tune for cosplaying, but it isn't. All I'm saying is, basically, Onicon has a place where cosplayers should be empowered to go. For instance, not going to say a lot of names, but I've seen dramatic cosplay shots when the sky is dark and cloudy and the waves come up and over the rocks. I've seen cheerful and playful shots where it's warm and incredibly glowy with the sun. The difference between dark clouds and bright clouds are a big difference, by the way. There's not a lot of dark clouds that go on in Galveston during October, so this is a cosplayer's fantasy. Why isn't it more empowered than it usually is? Maybe because some people don't want to take the hour and a half long drive down to Galveston for some reason. Hey, look, I take a nearly day trip to see my family in Mississippi. What's your excuse? No, really. And then I even take even longer to get to Dragon Con. No, I don't want to hear it. Sure, it's going to take you about, maybe, just to be fair, 5 gallons of gas to get there, but once you're there, it's fun. Promise you I'm not drunk. Yet. In any event, What is going on here is pretty much John Leigh wants to ruin you, and a lot of other conventions are providing the fuel for that fire. And if I'm anyone in the city of Houston trying to start a convention, I'm avoiding summer months right now just because summer months mean A-Con. They mean San Japan. They mean Dragon Con. They mean even further out Anime Expo. They mean Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con. Particularly, they mean E3. Right now, here's my advice. If you're gonna start a convention, shoot for spring break weekend. Either before or after. Sometime in the middle of that. You'll get a lot more people. You won't have to deal with John Leigh unless he tries to transparently screw you over like he did Shizukaze-con. And there's really nothing there right now to begin with. You could probably have 4 or 5 conventions in Houston and still be successful, as long as you don't try to destroy yourself or deal with the incredibly dark, evil, twisted mind of one of the biggest losers who's ever owned anything. And I'm not talking Bob Lanier in this case. Yeah, the Houston, Texas jokes are never going to stop. But what won't stop either is my videos going uploaded to here on YouTube. So like, share, and subscribe. Donate to my PayPal at plasmawarrior2002@gmail.com or my coffee at Plasma Warrior. I have one more video in the wings and maybe one more contracted video coming up. I can't say much now, but let's just say it involves a purple-haired VTuber. Yeah, that's possible. But until I see you guys again, later.